49ers, what happened? 22-17 loss on Monday Night Football to the Minnesota Vikings, who improved to 3-4. We lost to a team with two wins. I know it's early, but 49ers are a better team by far and away. They were 5-0 2 weeks ago, and now they are 5-2. Things are starting to look a little grim. I'm not going to lie to you. That O-line didn't look good. Trent Williams was a big miss. I'm telling you, Trent Williams' injury, I said it. That was concerning, and it was concerning. Not having Deebo, it's a little worse than we thought, ladies and gentlemen, because he does so much for this team. Oh, man, and now we play the Bengals on a short week. They're getting better. Brock Purdy, 2 interceptions. He falls to 10-2 as a starter. Like, this was the back-to-back really not so good performances by Brock Purdy. That interception was rough. That game-ending one, like the game, he threw one pick. It is what it is. The second pick, game on the line. Like, you had a chance to put this team on your back, Brock. And he sold. That was bad. That was bad, ladies and gentlemen. That was horrible. Defense, let's talk about this. The defense gave up 452 yards. They forced one punt. They could not get the Vikings off the field. Kirk Cousins today looked like Patrick Mahomes. My God. Patrick Mahomes would have carved 378 yards passing for Kirk Cousins. He was cooking like this. This type of game is the type of game that Kirk Cousins or Kyle Shanahan fantasizes about Kirk Cousins, and he's like, oh my God, I need to get Kirk Cousins on my team. Like, this is the type of game that's going to make the rumors on the offseason, like, if the 49ers going to pursue Kirk Cousins, like, if everything goes bad down the stretch, again, it's 5-2, it's week 7 just ended, who knows what's going to happen with the 49ers down the line, but if Brock doesn't play great and Kirk Cousins is dogging it like this is the type of game that Kyle's going to, like, have dreams of, and like, oh my God, Kirk Cousins. Oh man, how are we feeling, ladies and gentlemen? What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Shout out to the chat. We got a lot of people in here tonight. Make sure you hit that like button. Appreciate the support, but this was a abysmal game, plain and simple. You can't sit here sugarcoat it. It was a bad loss. Defense got wrecked. They could not stop a third down. Addison looked like Jerry Rice after there. Oh, my God. Addison was looking like Jerry Rice. They didn't have Justin Jefferson. They did not have Justin Jefferson. And Addison looked like Justin Jefferson. Holy smokes. 5-2. They do not look like the best team in the NFC. I will tell you that. It was an ugly, ugly performance. The only bright spot was Christian McCaffrey. Shout out to Christian McCaffrey. This guy played with an oblique tear. And he played his ass off. Like, we got to give Christian McCaffrey his credit. I mean, he put the team on his back. But at the same time, they didn't give anybody else any carries. No Jordan Mason. Elijah Mitchell really didn't do anything. Like, I love Christian McCaffrey. The touchdown was huge. He had 2 touchdowns. He put the team on the back offensively. But at the same time, mix it up. George Kittle got in the mix. We were screaming about George Kittle, but not enough. Brandon Ayuk. They were trying to get him the ball, but it just wasn't like an elite performance. You look at the Eagles, they had a guy, A.J. Brown, who absolutely took over the game. Brandon Ayuk didn't take over the game. Like, that's what separates him from being at the upper echelon of receivers. And I love Brandon Ayuk. But tonight, Brandon Ayuk had an opportunity to take over a game. Now, was it Brock Purdy not getting him the ball enough? Was it Brandon Ayuk not getting open? We'll have to look at the film. But he didn't take over the game like a wide receiver one should. Addison took over the game. Bro, that inner touchdown at the end of that first half, when he took the ball out of Mooney Ward's hands, I could not believe it. That was bad. Yeah, bad coaching, says Raymond. Brock Purdy definitely didn't look good today. Bad coach. Steve Wilks. You guys happy about Steve Wilks? I know a lot of people out there are not happy about Steve Wilks. What do you guys think about Steve Wilks? We'll talk about him. Ted says the CMC fumble and missed goal, field goal mess. The CMC fumble was huge. That right there got the Vikings rolling. Like, that gave them momentum right off the bat. That was a bad omen. Jake Moody missed the field goal. Like, I know he made a 55-yard field goal, but listen, Jake Moody, I was nervous the whole time. Like shout out to him for making that 55-yarder. But every time he went up to a field goal, like I was so stressed. I don't know about you guys. I was like on edge on my like pins and needles. I was like, oh my God, is he gonna make it? Is he not? Like I had to take a dump after one of his field goals. Like no lie, I was like, okay, I got too much stress in my body. Jake Moody is stressing me out, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, Steve Wilkes, man, he's just blitzing on some crazy plays, like blitzing at the end of the half. You got to go max contain. The soft zone is not working, man. I don't know. Some of the times I'm just lost with this defense. And the other part of this defense is they've spent so much money on this defensive line. Look, Hargrave's getting paid a lot of money. Nick Bosa, Skims model, whatever you want to call him. Randy Gregory, like Arik Armstead, all these guys are getting paid a lot of money, and I did not see a single. Maybe they had a few pressures, but I did not see any like defensive pressure or any time where Kirk Cousins was struggling in the pocket. Man, no sacks in this game was outlandish. You have the defensive player of the year, reigning defensive player of the year, and the rest of this defensive line is supposed to be like godly. Not today. Not one sack. And when you're not getting pressure, yes, the cornerbacks are going to have a lot of pressure on them. Like, I know the cornerbacks haven't been great at times, and they've made some bad mistakes, but you're putting so much pressure on the back end if you're not getting any sacks. Like, that's it. And Fred Warner has to go and put the team on his back every play. Like, Fred Warner was the only one on defense, to me, that was really playing worth anything. Dre Greenlaw played his butt off. He tried, Dre Greenlaw was definitely playing. He was out there. He got a little banged up. Fred Warner got a little nicked up, but they came back. They played tough. But they were the only two really, like, giving it out. They're all, like, when Fred Warner skied over the goal line and looked like Troy Polamalu out there, I was like, okay, Fred, put the team on your back. He almost had an interception, almost had a pick six, but just not enough. Not enough, man. His defense is not what we think what it should be. And I think also because the offense these last 2 weeks has stalled, putting a lot of pressure on the defense. They're just not playing a full game. It's just bad. Yeah, and offensive line, again, that was a big concern going into this game. Jalen Moore. Oh, he did not look good. Yeah, Fred playing his heart out. Man, it's tough. We need the bye week. Honestly, after next week, we need the bye week. We need the bye week. Oh, I cannot wait for the bye week, honestly. Beast mode, Chip Kelly type of vibe, absolutely. Is it bad that you want to cry the real Spider-Man? No, you get your emotions. We love this team. We want a as fans, we want a Super Bowl. We want to see this team be good. And at this point today where we're at, like, this was not a good performance. I know the 49ers started really bad the last 2 years, but 5-0 start, and the Niners should have beat the Vikings. They should have beat the Browns. Like, these were games you shouldn't have lost. Like, you beat the Cowboys. I don't know. I just don't know why they weren't prepared to. And I get it. There's injuries. Browns had injuries. The Vikings had injuries. I get it. Be emotional. I would be too. It was tough. Kirk Cousins cooked us tonight. Like, Kirk Cousins whooped us tonight. I'm not okay with that. Third down, Kirk Cousins was dealing, like, every time it was third down. Like, I think they were just messing with us to get to third down sometimes because they coverage was too soft on third down. They could not. The 49ers couldn't stop them if they tried. Were there any injuries? I'm waiting for updates. I know Kyle's at the podium. He'll talk about it. Fred Warner did leave the game, but he came back at the end. We'll see. Tomorrow will be one of the, when they have post game the next day when they have their injury reports. That's usually when you figure things out because sometimes injuries don't really manifest till the day later. But man, Beast Mode says Kirk Cousins took the Niners. Kirk Cousins came out and dealed, man. No QB hurries, pressures, sacks. Jesus says that was concerning, man. And this is it. This is a good comment right here. Obey says, I'm upset because the Ravens, Eagles, Chiefs are teams that we're going to face. And they go, well, maybe the Chiefs, if we make it to them. And they go against teams that get beat by these teams. They need improvement. It's frustrating because the 49ers do have some tough games coming up. They got Seattle coming up. They got the Ravens coming up. They got the Seattle Seahawks Seahawks, Ravens, the Eagles. That's what I meant. The Eagles. They got some tough games coming up. Everybody has tough games coming up on their schedule. But the 49ers, you're losing to the easy teams. Or easy teams. You should be beating the Minnesota Vikings. You can't be losing to them. you're getting exposed out here on national TV. Now teams are going to come at your neck when you play like the Ravens, and it's going to be tough. It's a tough uphill battle from here. Hopefully the 49ers can get back on the winning track next week. Again, it is the Bengals next week. Whew, it was rough, man. I just was an ugly, ugly game. And you know what? It starts with, of course, the coaches, but the players too. Like, you got to hold some of these players accountable. Like Nick Bosa, I love this guy. And I'm so happy he got paid, but he has been a shell of himself this year. Nick Bosa got worked on that game. Like, we can't sit here and say that he did it. I don't know. Unbelievable, man. It's a rough sledding right now. It's definitely not a good look for this team. Big City Man says, I do got to say 5-2 is a better start than 3-5. Absolutely. But in the grand scheme of things, 49ers started slow, and they hit a groove, man. They couldn't lose last year after a certain point. So right now it's kind of going in the opposite direction. But I think if they can find their sledding and if they can find their groove, they can get back on a winning streak. But right now it's just they're not executing, making some weird penalties. They're just not playing at the capability that, and I don't know what the root of it is. Like, everybody wants to pin it on Steve Wilks. I get it, because Steve Wilks, he's not D'Amico, he's not Robert Salah. It took them some time. Like, I still want to give him some time. I still want to give him like the benefit of the doubt, but that defense has not been playing the way it should be. They got these stars, Warner, Bosa, Hargrave, right? Paying them a lot of money. Mooney Ward played bad tonight. Like, I love Mooney Ward. He got cooked tonight by Addison. The rookie made him look so bad tonight. Oh, man. It's tough. It's tough. Like, we want to win a Super Bowl as a fan base. This type of game isn't inspiring, but again, it's a long, long season. So you have to kind of think about, everything in perspective and say, hey, it is what it is. The Vikings, they came out fighting hard. They played tough. The NFC North, they knew they had a chance to kind of get back in the swing of things. The Lions lost yesterday, and Vikings said, hey, we're back in it. So for them, that's a big win. In the NFC, this was a tough loss for the 49ers in terms of seeding. Eagles right now, they have the number 1 seed. It's still early, but that definitely doesn't help us. Seahawks are rounding about. They look pretty good this year. We got to play them in a couple of weeks. And the Lions, they lost, but their schedule is getting very, very easy coming up. So things are not going to be easy for the 49ers moving forward. Again, Bengals next week, and after that, a bye week. So Wilks can't be in the box. I mean, that's his thing. If a lot of coaches are in the box, I just want his play calling to be better. Whether if you're in the press box or not, you got to come with a better game plan. Oh, man. Frisco says, our defense has taken a huge step backwards. Do you guys think that's true? I'm going to pin this comment. I think so. I think honestly, as much money this defense is making, like, they're getting paid a lot. A lot of these guys, like Bosa and everything, they brought in Hargrave. I just don't see that same type of explosiveness as we've seen in the past. Like Hufanga, usually we're waiting for a big-time Hufanga play. He hasn't made it, Fred Warner has to put every ounce of his heart into a game, and Nick Bosa just standing there thinking about his money or something. I don't know. And I love Nick, man. But what happened to this pass rush? I absolutely agree that this defense has taken a step back, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. Big time said Armstead, just a body out there. I was watching somebody, we were talking before the game, before I came on here. My man Vlad, he said, you see Armstead? He just had his hand on the hips. Armstead was just standing there at times. That's not a good look, man. Nick Bosa getting dragged in the comments tonight. Greenlaw came back and showed up before anyone else. Yeah, you can't take anything away from Greenlaw and Fred Warner. I want to say that right now. Yo, Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw, those two guys are dogs, man. The rest of his defense needs to catch up. Corners key. I think a lot of you guys are saying the 49ers need a cornerback. What do you think? Jalen Johnson? Yo, the Eagles made a move, man. They went and got Bayer. They went and got an all-pro safety today. They went and traded for an all-pro. They saw their safety yesterday, right? Tremaine Edwards. He got skated on. He got cooked. This man went and got trashed last night. Even though they still won the game, he got cooked up. Eagles trade him. They trade him away with some draft picks, and they upgraded their safety. immediately, day one. Niners need to do that, man. The Eagles, they said, look, we don't care. Guy played bad. We got to shore up that part of our defense. And they made a move, man. They take the Titans 2 years in a row. They've taken the Titans to school. 2 out of the last 3 years because A.J. Brown wasn't last year. They fleeced the Titans, man. And that was a big move for them. The Niners, their team's not perfect right now. They have to do something to bolster this roster. It's not 100% perfect like they're showing it. And this game showed us, like, honestly, it showed us how important Deebo Samuel is. A lot of people were cooking him. Deebo is important, man. Like, he sets the tone on this offense. His ability to do the motion and get the play set up, take some pressure off of CMC, it's crazy. Like, you know what? The thing is, like, before we had CMC, we had Deebo, and he put the team on his back. Now Deebo's hurt, so it's literally like CMC is playing like Deebo was before, putting the team on his back, and now he's having to overplay, work himself too hard, and he gets hurt. It's literally the same story every single year. I said it to someone. I was texting her, and I said, listen, every day, every year, it's the same story. It's the same story. It's the 49ers. We play hard. We got these great players. One of them gets hurt, overstress another player, and then it's just a cycle, man. And they play down to teams like the Vikings, the Browns, you know. That's tough, man. Yeah, you can definitely, the real Spider-Man, you can tell Trent wasn't in. That team was not running right. They tried to get lanes. They couldn't open up lanes, and they could not protect Purdy that good. Like, Purdy got sacked hard by Danielle Hunter. That was bad. That was a bad rep. McKivitz looked bad. Jalen Moore lost in space, man. Chris Olave got arrested. Yeah, I saw that, actually. Crazy. How does a defensive line that has Nick Bosa, Arik Armstead, Javon Hargrave, and Randy Gregory have 0 sacks, ladies and gentlemen? Raymond says it's the Randy Gregory curse. You know what it is? It's the Kim Kardashian curse. Oh, man. What do? We got to flush this one away and try to play better. Peter Parker, this is a good comment. It says, second week in a row, Kyle does not have his team ready to go. Do you guys think do you guys think this team was not ready? Do you think they were not prepared? I was talking to someone earlier, and they said it was weird that they didn't stay on the East Coast, their little, usual trip where they had their little layover on the East Coast, right? They played 2 straight games out, Minnesota, Cleveland. You would think they'd stay in Youngstown, do their little trip, but they traveled back from Cleveland back to the Bay, traveled back to Minnesota. Like, do you think that extra travel time might have threw them off? I mean, to me, what I said was, my response was, the 49ers, they had an extra day. They had the whole day yesterday to kind of recover and be adjusted for the travel. But maybe they're right. Maybe that person was right. You think that messed them up? No. They did look asleep crazy. They looked like they were just, I don't know. They didn't look like the same. Steve Wilkes didn't have the team prepared, says Josh. Neither did Kyle. Yeah, that last drive by the Vikings. They're not locked in, says Big City. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a different vibe. Like, the first 5 weeks, it's something special, right? We kept saying every week, it's something special. The last 2 weeks, it don't seem too special. So Rexy says, how can they not be prepared? All these guys know what the goal is. Why sleep on any of these teams? Bengals have better weapons. They'll torch the defense. But see, that's the thing, is they should be prepared. But it just sometimes seems like they're lost out there. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, it seems like they got surprised out there today. Like, Kirk Cousins was cooking them. The defense was running all over them. Right? Addison. I feel like the 49ers might have got a little confident coming into this game because, they lost last week. The talk was, okay, we got to bounce back. We're better than the Vikings. They got 2 wins. I think they got a little overconfident, honestly. And that goes on coaching. I mean, that's my theory. That's what I'm going to assume. Maybe I'm wrong. I think everybody can agree on this, though, because Boogie said is to get no sacks on Cousins with the amount of money invested on that D-line is upsetting. To me, that is the biggest takeaway. To me, that is the biggest takeaway of this game. Kirk Cousins Kirk Cousins cooked us, man. What do you guys think about Brock Purdy? Let's talk about Brock. Elephant in the room. Obviously, we talked about him a little bit, but he didn't look good tonight. He had, second half he didn't, but that's when games matter. Pressure cooker situations, right? He had a pretty decent first half, I'd say. I think he was cooking a little bit first half. He was pretty efficient. I was like, okay, Brock. Touchdown to CMC was nice. He led them down as the game started coming down the wire, getting a lot of pressure in his face, right? Jalen Moore was selling, got the pressure in his face, got the sack, and then he started throwing the interceptions, man. Second half was not good. First half was good, so I think someone said 50-50. Like, yeah, but you need him to make those plays. And at the end of the day, he had this team in position to win that game. He could have put them in position to win like he did last week. Kicker sold. This week, it was his chance, and he sold them on the interception. So as much as I sit here and talk about, like, Josh Allen choking in big moments, today Brock Purdy definitely had his moment, and he didn't live up to that. So, yeah, he's had a tough stretch of games. We got to see if he could bounce back. Nobody's going to be perfect. Nobody's going to have a stellar game every game. But these last two games definitely is adversity for Brock. And these are games he's got to bounce back from. So he's still young. He's learning. Obviously, we love to see him bounce back. We want to see him better. But he did have his moment to sit there and put this team. Like, if he would have drove that team down and got a game-winning touchdown, nobody's even pissed in that. We're hyped up. We're celebrating. Like, yeah, we would sit here and criticize defense a little bit because it would have been a stressful win. Like, oh my God, we cannot be in that position again. But it would have been a win where you're like, oh wow, they fought, they battled, they had adversity, and Brock Purdy still put him in position, but he did it, and that's tough, man. So now pressure cooker situation, Brock Purdy folded. So how is he going to bounce back from that? It's going to be huge to see. So. But, he did play good in the first half, and I've seen so much more out of him than I've seen out of the other quarterbacks over the last couple of years. So, it's a tough stretch for him. He's going to have tough – every quarterback has bad games. But this would have been a phenomenal moment for Brock to lead this team down. And if he would have got that touchdown at the end, holy smokes, that's the type of quarterback. Yeah, that would have been like a moment where we're like, wow, special, right? But now the media is they're going to rake him over the coals this week. That's unfortunate for the young man, Shepard says, I'm ready to be done with Brocktober. Brocktober's almost over. It hasn't been the best month of all. Oh, man. Real Spider-Man, 400-plus yards to the Vikings. Rep the base as Steve Wilkes folded. He really did, man. I'm not going to lie to you. His game plan was bad. It was bad. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't lie to you guys. It was bad. Jocelyn says, I can't wait to see what Uncle Sherman has to say. Me too. Mario says, who do you think we should trade for? They need a cornerback. They need Jalen Johnson. I mean, he's one of the guys on the market. They need to get an edge. I don't know who's available. Maybe Chase Young, maybe Montez Sweat, but I don't know if they're going to be affordable, depending on if it's a fire sale. They need another pass rusher, which is crazy to me. To sit here and say they need another edge rusher or pass rusher is actually it's crazy to me because they have all this money invested on the D-line, and I still think they need another defensive lineman. It's so crazy. And I know a lot of people are going to say offensive line, but there's not really great players to trade for when it comes to offensive line. So they're stuck with who they have until the draft comes. Hopefully Trent Williams is back. Trent was that loss, right? The loss of Trent Williams to me, when I saw that the other day, when I saw he was listed as doubtful, I started getting a little worried because Trent Williams is a dog, man. I said it the other night. I said Jalen Moore and Colton McKivitz. I'm not happy about the duo, and I was not having fun with that. Man. Shannon Sharp is gonna go in on us tomorrow. Jesus says, if the front four can't pressure the secondaries, yeah, that's what we said. Go get Jalen Johnson. I'm down with it, Randan. The media needs to bash the Niners being the underdogs is what we need. That's a good point because I feel like the 49ers have been getting used to being talked about in great. We said that we were talking about this on the pre-show, how someone mentioned, I can't remember who, but they said they like when the 49ers are the underdogs and they don't like when they're the favorites. And we did talk about that. And, that's a good point because the 49ers, they come into games with a little different mentality when they're underdogs and people are doubting them. I honestly agree with you. I think they play so much better when people doubt them and don't think they're going to win, because when they're favored, I feel like they get a little cocky. I honestly think that's true. I think you're right. That's a good point. That's a good point. We do get cocky. Nick Wright is going to go crazy. Oh God, man, these analysts are going to go wild. Honestly, though, I think we might have overhyped Brock for a little bit. I still think he's going to be good. I still think he's going to be great. These last two games, where obviously we're rolling off the emotions of everything, right? Where we're mad, we're sad, we're sick, we're pissed. But we kind of did over. We were saying he's him. He's bro. Every stat that came up, and I'm guilty about it. I would post it up. Look at Brock. Look at Brock. Is this good? Oh my God. We should have sat back a little bit because of the pressure got to him. But you're right. Zahn says crazy how badly people are trashing Brock. Yeah, people are gonna go crazy on him. I think because people were over, and that's what sports media does. And I've seen this for many years. When you hype someone up, when you hype up a team, a player, and then bad things happen, if they play bad, there's going to be people, the haters are going to come out of the woodworks, and they're going to go crazy. They're going to talk a lot of trash. So that's to be expected. And, content creators like myself, we go out of our way. We hype up players when they do good. And when they don't, the people that don't agree with your takes, they're going to have a field day. So that's exactly what's happening. And it's tough for Brock. He's definitely got to play better. He's got to bounce back. This was an ugly game. It was an ugly game last week. The interceptions, he hadn't thrown any interceptions the last 2 weeks. It caught up to him, and he's making bad mistakes. So, you can't blame anybody but himself. Still have a chance to go 15-2. Brock looked scared. He did. And I think that's 100% without Trent Williams there. Like, this offensive line could not protect him, and I think that's the difference. He didn't look as poised as he normally did in that second half, and I feel when the pressure started getting to him, he was starting to make panic plays, and that's exactly what it was. But, man, Trent Williams is a big loss, right? It's a good question, says Dre. How much does the away environment affect Brock? That's a good question because Minnesota and Cleveland do have good crowds. I'd like to understand. Maybe that is something that plays into it because the last two games that the Niners lost were away games. And it was a hostile environment. But, Vikings have a great fan base. So do the Cleveland Browns. They bring the pressure. I know not all the Niner fans are there, but it is definitely different when you're on the road, right? He's played road games in the past. Obviously, we've seen him. But, the most of his wins this year, big home games. And then it's been smaller teams that, teams that weren't really great yet. So that's a good question. Maybe something to keep an eye on, right? Something to keep an eye on. Like, how does he perform at home versus away? We'll see next week. Next week they play a home game in Levi Stadium against the Bengals. That's not going to be an easy game. Brock played in Seattle last year, was fine. That's true. He did. But I don't know. Maybe it's a little different this season. Maybe it does have an effect. I don't know. That is something to think about. But you're right. He has played on the road, and he's played great. He played great in Seattle. That was a whole different mentality. Man, he crushed it in Seattle. So who knows how big of a factor that is. This is a good question. Brock played in Seattle. Oh, there was another comment that I really liked. Spider-Man says, where the hell is Drake Jackson? I've been wondering the same thing. I was having a conversation with someone tonight, and I said the same thing. Where's Drake Jackson? He disappeared, ladies and gentlemen. This man, 3 sacks week 1, and this has been Drake Jackson ever since. He's been dead, missing, MIA. We've seen the skeletal remains of Drake Jackson playing. This man is nowhere to be found. Absolutely. That's why they went and got Randy Gregory. Because Drake, look, Kyle called him out last year. Kyle called him out last year. Everybody this offseason, and I remember being one of the only people said, don't. And I said it. I said they still need edge rushers. They still need some more depth. And people said, well, Drake Jackson's going to have a 12-sack season, 10. I said, I don't know, man. I was here with Larry Krueger, and I said, I still don't know if Drake Jackson is going to be the guy because there's a lot of pressure on him. They lost 3 pass rushers in the offseason. Jordan Willis, Charles Menahu, and Samson Ebukam. I know they're mid. I know they're not great elite players, but that was a lot of snaps. And for Drake Jackson, to a guy that didn't play the full season, to have to come in and take all those snaps, I said it was a lot of pressure, and that's exactly what it was. It's just too much pressure on Drake Jackson to handle. That's it. That's it. Bottom line. Just this team's falling apart, but it's still early, ladies and gentlemen. So there is still some optimism. I don't know. It's a tough one, ladies and gentlemen. It was an ugly one. I don't know. Hopefully they bounce back. Bell, Juice. Ronnie Bell. Someone asked why don't they get Ronnie Bell involved? Again, he's a rookie. Like, you can't expect him to take the Deebo role in his first season, but that's the thing with Kyle. He takes a lot to trust other players. Like, he takes a lot of time to develop trust for players. But I also feel like Ronnie Bell is more of like the backup for Ayuk, if that makes sense. Because when Ayuk went down, that's who stepped in his place. And I feel like Juwan Jennings, Ray McCloud are the guys that kind of step in that Deebo role, because they were the guys that were getting the looks tonight. It was Juwan Jennings got some action, Ray McCloud got some action, but nobody can replace what Deebo does for this team. But yeah, Kyle, man, I don't know what he did in the running backs though. Like, he had no faith in any other running back except Christian McCaffrey. Like, Christian McCaffrey played with an oblique tear. He gave no carries to Jordan Mason. And I don't know, did Elijah Mitchell get a carry? Maybe one or two? That's crazy to me. Bro literally ran CMC with an oblique tear. At one point, he was in every snap in the first half. I don't think I saw CMC have one play off. CMC is the whole 49ers offense. That is a fact. My man Rashad said, I'm going to watch The Mask. It's a great movie. CMC's in the record book. Shout out to CMC, though. Mitchell got one in lost yardage. I thought I saw him in there. I definitely thought I saw him in there. One play. Like, I remember there was a play where CMC and Mitchell were in the backfield together. I was like, that's it. Do I think this game was a wake-up call for the 49ers, Julius? If they don't wake up after this, nothing's going to wake them up. They should have woken up last week. Last week was a wake-up call. CMC fumble was massive. The missed field goal. Warner carried the team. I agree, Angel. You know what? Shout out to everybody. Shout out to Fred Warner. That's it. Kittle played tough too, VZ. We need Taylor Swift at the games. Yo, how come Taylor Swift can't be dating Kittle, right? The NFL, shout out to the NFL loves Taylor Swift and Kelsey every week. Like, I think they're gonna want to. They want Taylor at every game. They love it. It's great for their ratings. We hate it. It's cringe social media posts, but they love it. And the Chiefs, I bet, are loving it because it makes Kelsey play better. Somebody needs to go and date like some famous pop star for the 49ers. Like, I love Claire Kittle and all these guys, all these ladies, but somebody on the 49ers need to go get Ice Spice. Can you go date Ice Spice, one of the 49ers? I don't know, something. We need to get some type of media, because then the media would love us, right? If they were dating Taylor. We're that down bad, ladies and gentlemen. That's how down bad we are as Niner fans. Oh, my God. Lil, man. Kim and Bosa. Kim Kardashian. No, do not bring her near this team. Bro, I was sick when I saw that Skims posted. I swear to God, I said it in the comments. I said, this is the Kim Kardashian curse. And people said, no, Raj, this is great. I said, anyways. D-line coach, it's not I don't blame this on Kasurik, man. I blame this on Steve Wilkes. You're the defensive coordinator. You guys are crazy, man. Any last questions or concerns? I'm going to probably hop off here, see the interview, see what the coaches said and everything, and then maybe post on Instagram. I don't know. I'm so sick of this loss, dude. I hate when the Niners lose 2 weeks in a row. Oh, my God. God, man. You know, I hate losing even more than anything, just because the Niners, we get. Oh my God, the fans in the NFL love to hate us, and they're gonna trash us all week, man. God, embarrassing. It feels like coaching problems. Yeah, so many flags. I agree. Oh man, shout out to Jake Moody. No, he don't get a shout out from me today. He missed the field goal. Yeah, the 55-yard field, like that 55-yard field, he made it, and everybody was like clapping for him. Like that's his job. Make it again. Watching Jake Moody, watching like to make a field goal is like a drama movie. It's like watching The Notebook unfold. I'm like, oh God, am I either gonna cry? I'm gonna go through emotions. Like I feel like he wanted to cry after he made that field goal. Like all the commentators were like gushing for him. It's gonna be tough for Jake Moody, man. Like every time he kicks, we're like, is he gonna make it or not? Who would I trade for? Go give me Jalen Johnson, Chase Young, Montez Sweat. Oh man. Power rankings. What do you guys think? 49ers, they can't be top 4, top 5. I mean, okay, you got Eagles gonna be number 1. Number 2 is gonna be the Chiefs. Number 3, it's tough because the Lions lost. Niners lost, Dolphins lost. Maybe we're still 4. Ooh. Isaac says Wilkes has a lot to do with this loss. Raymond says we need another wide receiver. What do you guys think? You need another receiver? Just need Deebo to be healthy, man. What do you guys think about Brandon Ayuk? I said that he needs to step up more. I wasn't impressed with Brandon Ayuk tonight, honestly. Does 13 wins win the NFC? Be close. 14 maybe. 13 would be close. You guys think Brandon Ayuk could have stepped up a little bit more? I don't know. Sergio says secondary. Yeah, secondary was bad. Kirk Cousins, man, out there looking like crazy tonight. Yeah, he did disappear, Dustin. Kyle made some comments on Steve Wilkes. Oh, we'll see. I'm going to look that up. Definitely Ayuk disappeared in the second half. Yeah, man. And I love Ayuk. And, I want him to get paid. But as I said the other night, I said, this is the type of game where Ayuk can get paid from these types of games. When Deebo's out, like, go out there, stand on business. Show us your wide receiver 1. Like, look, A.J. Brown last night, he went off. He put that team on his back. Like, in the last 5 games, A.J. Brown has become a whole nother level of wide receiver. Like, that's what I want to see out of Brandon Ayuk. If you're the best in the league, go out there, separate. I know it has a lot to do with quarterback too and the game plan and stuff, but I feel like Brandon Ayuk could still play better. But yeah, defensive coordinator Armando, Steve Wilkes, game plan's not great. I mean, he's just been inconsistent. He's blitzing on weird plays. You're not getting any sacks with this defensive line. Something's up, man. Yeah, you guys have a good rest of your night, though. We will be back soon. I'm going to go take a look and see what these press conferences are all about. You guys have a good rest of your night. Hopefully we'll bounce back, man. It's tough. I know it's tough, but you got to remember we are 5-2. Last year, we did not start this good. So it's all about perspective. It is what it is. It's tough. We wish we all would have won tonight. I mean, I wish we would have won tonight. I'm not going to lie to you, but we didn't, and we got to sit here and talk about it and get through it. I'm sure they'll bounce back eventually. Hopefully this short week they can do some reflecting and really focus up because they need to get this win. If they lose 3 games in a row, oh, man, yeah, it's tough. Defense needs to toughen up, though. I agree. 1 punt. Forcing the Vikings to only 1 punt is ridiculous, man. Y'all have a good rest of your night. I love you. Make sure you hit that like button for me. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for the support. Keep supporting this YouTube. Eventually, this YouTube will finally, blow up like it did last year, and we got to build it the right way. Last year, unfortunately, just didn't go the way I wanted to. But, we're building it, and I appreciate you guys. As bad as this night was, I do want to say I love you guys, and I thank you for all the support on all my social media channels. So you guys are awesome. It sucks to lose, but I love talking to you guys. It makes everything better. So you guys have a good rest of your night. I appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. Love you. Bang, bang. Not again.